ahead of Victor Skerbatis of Latvia and Germany's Ronnie Weller, the defending European champion, who both got 190, but the Latvian lighter than the German, so that's why he's in second place. And now this is Sergei Flerko for his second attempt. His first was successful at 185. And this was not so good. 192.5 for Sergei. It is 5 kilos ahead of personal best, but nonetheless disappointing. David Goldstrom, together with David Morgan, the last leg of the journey here in Spain. The last gold medal of the championship to be decided. 15 medals available, 8 for men, 7 for women. The most successful country, Bulgaria, without a doubt. But a good mix of medals across the board. Now this is Krasilnikov of the Ukraine. Second attempt for him at 192.5. And he's very, very light, only 112.7 kilos. That, of course, is relative to the category that he's in. So this would put him into the lead. And technically, very nicely done by the 21-year-old.
Yep, for my money, definitely the most solid lifter of the day so far. And he does have that body weight advantage.
Yes, just as much as we've talked about the next man who's going to come on stage. This man, who you've just seen there, junior world champion in 1997, junior European champion in the same year. So it's a couple of youngsters here, David, who are really interesting. If they can continue. Here's Udashin, the teenager representing the Ukraine, and the weights being loaded on now.
Yes, I think he's asking for a junior European record.
Just check that out. His Udashin's actually got the junior European record. That's would stand at 180. He's got that. 192.5 was his old junior world record. So this is going for a new junior world record. The senior European and world record, because it's one in the same by Ronnie Weller, 205.5. And plenty of lifts to come in this competition. The big man, Ashot Danielin, he's leading the way, as I said, but he's got 2 to go. Skerbatis has got 2 lifts left. And Vela with 2. And Udashin with 1, and Flerko.
And it doesn't.
Well, there's Udashin. Now, a bit of confused what's going on here. No, he is going to come out for 1. Oh, well.
Yes, they won't allow him to take the record. Because it's not a senior world record.
Well, I don't understand that.
Well, he could break it if he'd gone to 195. But they'll only allow the record discs on if it's a senior world record.
Well, that equals his junior world record, but it's as far as he can go. What it does do is it puts him into second place. Although I'm just checking that, because he's got 122.46 his body weight, and he's lifted that, which by my reckoning means that he should actually get ahead of Ashot Danielin. And quite sure what the computer is telling us at the moment. Because just checking the body weights here, I'm absolutely sure I'm right. Udashin is 122.46 kilos and Danielin 159.5. So Udashin must be in the lead. Fleco's failure, 192.5. Victor Skebatis on the stage for Latvia.
Bar now at 195.
Yes, and he's the man who's in the lead. Apologies for the confusion. The computer went a bit haywire. But he's the man in the lead by virtue of the lightest body weight, ahead of Udashin. Skebatis now with 195. And that takes the Latvian into the lead. Second lift, so he's got one more to go. So the order now, Victor Skebatis ahead of Ganazilnikov, and then the other Ukrainian, Artem Udashin, and of course the big man, Ashot Danielin, with 192.5, currently in fourth place. And Ronnie Weller only fifth, but Ronnie Weller about to do something about that. Of course, this is a 195. Now, 195 would be good enough for second place because he weighs 143 kilos. Ronnie, 29 years of age. And a tremendous record. Bronze medal for the German Democratic Republic back in the Olympics for 1988. And Olympic champion in 92, and a silver in 1996 behind Chemerkin. But he's a man for the big occasion. And that's 195. And that's the platform. And now, David, he will just watch and wait with Tech. And they'll work it out what they need.
Yes, he's well within himself. I think he's just building a good snatch, because as we know, well, he actually hasn't got any weaknesses. He holds the world record in the snatch with 205.5, and he also holds the world record with 260.
Well, the interesting thing is that he's got one more lift, of course, and really the question is, how far is anybody going to push him? Because, okay, he's 10 kilos below his world record best, but we also know, because he's been quite honest about it, that he's not completely wound up, so he's maybe not worth more than 202.5. So here's the big man at 159.5 kilos, Ashot Danielin, and he's going for 197.5. And remember, he's got one more lift after this.
Yes, I think it's a question of the German coaches watching this man, deciding how much more he's going to do, and getting Weller to equal it.
He looked immensely strong. He had no problem holding that up there. And that in itself sends a message, doesn't it? Because they'll have all seen that, and what he's trying to say is, well, I've got at least another 5 kilos in me, and 5 kilos means 202.5. Of course, Vella wouldn't have to go any further than that because he'd beat him on body weight, and he'd be quite happy to do just that. Krasilnikov next to go, his third attempt coming up, and he's staying on 197.5, which is where the bar is now. And of course, he's the light man. So what would happen now is if he does this, then he takes the lead. Danielin goes down into second place, Gebartis to third, and Ronnie Weller's off the podium. So it is quite fascinating, this.
Yes, this man's looked comfortable on his first two lifts. Let's see what he can do with this.
Needs to drive up, and he's done that. That's very good when you consider that you've got a 46, almost 47 kilo range in this class, and he's the light man. 112.7 kilos, and he's just lifted exactly the same weight as the man who weighs 159.5.
Yes, and it's the same.
It's the same system that operates, of course, in the women's over 75 kilo class. But of course, you could say, well, there should be a handicap, which means that would really define who is the strongest man or woman.
Or perhaps another category.
Except those have been reduced, and they had to be for the Olympic Games, which is now so often defining itself by the number of hotel beds that it can afford for athletes. But Victor Skibartis now, 197.5 kilos, third and final attempt. So this to put him into silver medal position.
And he's going to get that.
Well, he couldn't 192.5 in Europe last year. He managed 195 in the Worlds, and he's now put 197.5 away. So he's obviously getting it together. Nice, fast movement. Puts the bar in absolutely the perfect position, and then drives up and holds it very confidently above his head. So it's the Ukraine from Latvia and Armenia, with Germany in fourth place. And Ronnie Weller now coming to take 200. And there are only two men in the competition who have snatch lifts left. One is this man, the defending European champion, who's going for a weight which is 5.5 kilos below his world record, which means that Ashot Danielin of Armenia must take 202.5 kilos if Ronnie's successful here, if he wants to deny the German the European title. So if Ronnie gets this, we then have to wait and find out whether the German team's assessment of the Armenian is correct, because they'll have had a man looking at him. Steadies, and he's up there. Okay, Frank's happy. We can see Frank Mantek clapping and smiling. Fans are happy, but is it good enough, David?
Time will tell.
Because when we saw Ashot Danielin take 197.5, he held the bar above his head very, very strongly. And he certainly gave me the suggestion that 5 kilos were within his capacity. And as I said, has Mantek's spy got it right that this is a little bit too much? What do you reckon?
I wouldn't take any bets on it. He's looked good on 192 and 197.
And a 5 kilo increase, particularly for these big men, is nothing special.
No, percentage-wise, it's nothing like the... It's a small jump in comparison.
And he's got a full minute to win it. This for the gold in the snatch. And it's gone to Armenia. And I can only say that Ronnie must have felt that 202.5 was not there for him today.
So Weller has to settle for the silver in the snatch. But I've got a feeling that the clean and jerk is definitely going to be a very different story.
Yes, it's where this man has had problems. He has failed to total. The most recent time was in the Europeans last year when he ran into problems. Oh, sorry, in the World Championships where he ran into problems, our shot, and that's only 6 months ago when he failed to get all of his clean and jerks. But that doesn't matter at the moment. He's feeling extremely good because he's just become European snatch champion. So, a new name on the roll of honor there. Danielin, who was 4th in Europe a year ago, and there it is. 3 good snatches, some good lift generally there, but well within a lot of men's abilities. Weller takes the silver, and Krasilnikov of the Ukraine ends up in the bronze medal position by virtue of his lighter body weight. You can see him there, 112.7 kilos. And when you consider that, he's only 5 kilos below Danielin, the biggest man in the competition. Skebatis, the unlucky man, in 4th place. So here we go in the clean and jerk. In fact, we've already gone a little bit of the way. David Goldstrom with David Morgan, the last leg, and it really is the last leg now of the European Championships of 1999. At the moment, leading the clean and jerk, one of the men who competed in the B group earlier on in the day. This is Pavel Najdek, who cleaned into 235 kilos, ahead of Raimond Bergmanis of Latvia, who was also in the B group. And those two men still prevailing ahead of Ruslan Doroshuk of Belarus, who's lifted 222.5, and Axel Franz of Germany 220. But this is Sergei Flerko, 225 on the bar. And this would put him into 3rd place in the clean and jerk. Flerko didn't total in the Olympic Games when, of course, there's only 1 medal available, and that is for the overall competition. But this is the man who 4 years ago collected bronze medals overall in both the European and the Worlds. And coming from behind, Flerko, 185 kilos for 6th place at the halfway stage. Krasilnikov should be next out at 227.5. He's already got a medal, the bronze, and he's only 2.5 kilos behind Ronnie Weller and 5 behind Danielin. "21 years old, didn't compete in the World Championships last year, but did a couple of years ago in Chiang Mai in Thailand when he finished 12th, when he was still in his teens. So that was a respectable effort, David. And again, like Udashin, who's struggled and failed to get his clean and jerk of the knee problem. These are the men who are making most progress from the junior ranks. Deep split, but a good one. Your assessment?
Very good technician. Doesn't make mistakes, never made any mistakes in the snatch. I think if he fails any of his lifts it'll be because of lack of strength, not technique.
Interesting, if you think back, the Russians who were for so long a big force, it wasn't always just Alexeyev, although it seemed to be always him. But now, having looked at some of the junior competitions, junior Europeans, there's a whole group of Russian youngsters that are just on the verge. It's going to take 2, 3, 4 years for them to come through. But as Bulgaria are doing today, possibly Russia are going to do in a couple of years. Just out of picture, I can just see the first aid men taking a stretcher around, and I wonder whether that's for Udashin. Try and bring you news of that. I mean, he did walk away, so hopefully he's okay. This is Skerbatis, finished in 4th place in the snatch. This is the opener at 2:30. Good lift. And 230 kilos for Victor Skerbatis. In the clean and jerk in the World Championships, 227.5. But then after that, couldn't manage 235, which he tried twice. But he's gone into 2nd place in the clean and jerk. Still the pole, Pavel Nazdek from the B group leading the way. He actually clean and jerk 235, so they haven't got to him yet. This is Ruslan Doroshuk now on stage, still at 230, going up from 222.5, so that's 7.5 kilos, the increase. And Doroshuk with plenty of time, over half a minute still to get the bar on the ground. Skerbatis at the moment leading the overall title race. Needs to start off. I think he got intimidated by getting to the end of the platform when he was running out of space. So that would have taken him up to 410 kilos, but still he's well behind the overall total. It's Skerbatis who's leading the overall table, 427.5, 2.5 kilos ahead of Krasilnikov of the Ukraine with 425, and then Pavel Nazdek of Poland in 3rd now. Well, apparently false alarm. They were just moving the stretcher out of the way because they're not required, and I think everybody's going to be okay. They're packing up already. Well, that's good news because we don't need to see that happen on the very last competition. Now Doroshuk to come out again.
So the bar at 230 kilos. This is for the 3rd and final attempt of Doroshuk. Just looking to his right, checking the clock. And the buzzer signifying that he now has 30 seconds in which to complete. In fact, 30 seconds to get the bar past the knees. So that's a failure. In fact, his second failure, so that leaves him with a clean and jerk of 222.5. And the bar now moves up to 232.5.
There's top European football this week on British Eurosport. On Tuesday.
So the German, Franz Axel, coming out for his second clean and jerk, taking a 12.5 kilo jump.
Axel, he's had a good long rest. But again, worth emphasising that 12.5 kilos at this level, not the challenge that it is at 53 or 69 kilos. But this is still a worthy challenge for him to try and make.
"20 seconds.
Well, 227.5 he's lifted this year, but 232.5 he has not. And that's really quite interesting. 232.5. And again, what he's doing here, very carefully, he's wandering around the stage and he's buying time. Struggled a little bit with the clean, but it was all right. But that just looks very heavy to me.
He may have blacked out, or again, he may just be doing that buying time act.
Well, because he's got, it's still at 150 even now. And they should theoretically start the 2 minutes straight away, but until he goes off stage, they can't do that. Incidentally, just to remind you that, of course, the Olympic champion, the man who Ronnie Weller beat in the European Championships, Andrei Chemerkin, who retained his world title last November, absent. He's getting ready for the Stian Grimseth Super Heavyweight International coming up on the 8th of May at Fjordet in Norway on the west coast where Stian lives. He's had a few injury problems himself. That's really why he's not here. But he's getting ready for that competition. And I don't know if for any of you in Norway, if you're anywhere there, you'd be very welcome to have a very good day. Chemerkin will definitely be there, so we understand. There's a very good American and a lineup of 8 very strong men. And Stian, their host, to beat them all. Stian, of course, who won the world... I should say the European snatch gold medal in Stavanger back in 1996. Norway already with some success today. Of course, Katarina Sederholm in the women's over 75 kilo class, getting a bronze medal in the clean and jerk. This is Axel Franz again, third attempt at 232.5, coming up to 15 seconds. They don't often get it wrong, but I think they have done today. And by they, I mean the German coaching squad. 220 to 232.5.
I think he was. I mean, he knows he's not going to be in the medals. So really, I could see their tactics: get one in, and then go for personal bests.
Well, it worked on the snatch, but it didn't work on the clean and jerk. But maybe, you know, a 227.5, get him a little bit nearer. Get more of a feel for the weight before he goes for the big one.
So the man that won the snatch, coming in on 235 kilos. not such a force in the clean and jerk.
And his body weight, 159.5 kilos.
It was a good start, though.
Very good start, because in the World Championships, David, he went 232.5, couldn't do that. Tried it again, couldn't do that. Tried 235, didn't do that. Didn't get a total. Got one today. And that has put him right to the top of the table. He's got a total at the moment of 237.5. That's 10 ahead of Skibartis. And he's ahead of Gennady Krasilnikov, who's got 425. So he's got a useful lead, and of course, well up, and he's the man that Danielin fears the most. And now it really starts to get interesting. This is Sergei Flerko, second, 235, so this is a 10-kilo increase on his first attempt. 235 he would then have, and he's just frustratingly 20 grams heavier than Pavel Najdek of Poland from the B group, who is still at this moment leading the clean and jerk competition. And there's the little question occurring in my mind, David, as to once again whether Pavel Najdek of Poland should have been in this A group final. Bar loaded to 5 for Krasilnikov, who I think has impressed us both, David, in terms of his technique. Very clean lifter. And by that I mean there's no wobbles, there's no shakes.
Yes, I suppose his only problem is that he's caught between a rock and a hard place, because he weighs 112.5 kilos. And he's too heavy for the 105s, but he's not really heavy enough for the super heavyweights. So a real talent, but not really with anywhere to go.
Eat less or eat more. But he's putting them lifts away. I have to say, he's very good. And value. 112.7 kilos, and now Najdek of Poland is deposed in the clean and jerk rankings as Krasilnikov takes over. The other thing I've noticed about him, he really does seem to be in his own tunnel. He's really in his own focus there. When he comes out on stage, he's almost in a sort of walled corridor. There's nothing outside. He's just completely focused on the bar and the lift.
It's almost casual.
Weller getting a sniff of the salts. Flerko coming out now. Important lift for him. This is to go into the bronze medal position.
Well, it was better, but not good enough So he stays on 225 kilos.
And that totals him out, Fleco, at 410. Bit disappointing, that, to be honest. Again, he's one of the lighter men, but he's not been the force that he was for 2 or 3 years now, Sergey. But Weller about to come in. So this is where it really does get interesting. The money's going to go down now, David. 237.5 being loaded on the bar.
Yeah, so taking this just to go ahead of the Armenian by virtue of lighter body weight.
Just to underline his potential, by telling you what he's already achieved in the European clean and jerk, for which he was fully wound up last year. 245 was his opener, 255, 260 to finish with. And it was those numbers that destroyed Chemerkin.
So 24 seconds.
So solidly into the lead in the clean and jerk. And into first place overall, because he's lighter than Danielin of Armenia. Both of them on 437.5 now. And Skebatis next to go. Here he is, the Latvian. He's got 2 lifts left. Now this is a 7.5 kilo increase here, so this would lift him up to 435, would put him into 3rd and bronze medal position. However, in the clean and jerk, he'd only be good enough for 4th place, because that Pavel Nazdek is still there in bronze medal position in the clean and jerk. Good clean. Drags one leg back, the other one forward. But he's a seasoned campaigner now, David. He knows what he has to do.
Yes, moving all the time.
A whole new galaxy of future stars have lit up the fields of Nigeria, and the brightest are burning for a higher glory. This Wednesday, in the FIFA Under-20 World Championship semi-finals at 4 and 7, live on British Eurosport.
Jumped right plus 60. Oh yeah.
So in fact it's Skerbatis who is in the lead, because he's the only man, Ronnie Weller, who's actually lifted 237.5, and he's lighter. So the Latvian leads the German, with Krasilnikov in third place. He's the light man. Najdek is now off the clean and jerk podium, so that's the real situation. And now trying to regain the lead is Danielin. This is second attempt with 240 on the bar, and this to go back into the lead for the clean and jerk for him. And that is 442.5 kilos for the total. And certainly he's coming here much better prepared than we've seen him for a long, long time.
And it'll be interesting to see what Weller does now. Will he come out on 242.5 to just go into the lead again?
Well, again, it is interesting, isn't it? Because you've got Danielin, 240, 237. We just reeled off the figures of Ronnie Weller. He's capable of 260. We're well below that. But, of course, it does come back to the fact that Ronnie can't do 260 today. Krasilnikov, the next man to lift. And the situation is that he has one left, Ronnie has two, and both Danielin and Skerbatis have got a lift to go. So 4 lifts to, in fact, 5 lifts to decide the championship. Krasilnikov now.
This will actually give him the lead on the clean and jerk at the moment by virtue of lighter body weight.
Yes, it'll be an immensely good effort if he can do it, because I think he's at the limit. That was good. This is the bit that worries me.
So close.
Just a fraction heavy. But only a fraction. Fair enough, I suppose. 237.5 maybe. But these are big boys' games. Krasilnikov finishes at the moment in place. Mind you, he can't drop down any further because only Weller, Skerbatis and Danielin remain. But Krasilnikov at least has the consolation of the bronze medal in the snatch. Now Weller, 242.5. And it is going to go all the way to the last lifts. There's no question about this. It's not, as they would say in golfing terms, a gimme. They're going to push him, both Skerbatis and Danielin.
Yes. Well, I can't afford to be complacent here, even though it is well within him. He's still got to focus.
He's got the weight advantage over Danielin, but he doesn't have the weight advantage over Skerbatis. Oh. And I have to say that's the end of the competition for Ronnie Weller, and that looks really bad. Quick assessment, David?
Well, I don't think he'll be coming out for it.
No, I'm just thinking of the injuries options there.
Looks, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's cramp. Maybe he will come out for his. Difficult to say. Maybe we'll see more on the slow-mo. See, this is what I mean about being complacent. Although it's a light weight, didn't quite catch it right. Oof. Well, it looked like a dislocation. Of the knee.
Well, Weller's got a few moments to try and recover, but this is Victor Skerbatis trying the same weight. Now, this is a 5 kilo increase in the clean and jerk, so this would take him into the lead. It's his last chance, but it would take him to 242.5 in the clean and jerk, and he's lighter than Danielin, which means that Danielin would effectively have to go to 245, which is 5 up on his last success. So I wonder whether this could be Skerbatis' day.
Oh, is that right? I thought Danielin had done 240.
Danielin's done 240, but Skerbatis had done 237.5.
And this of course, you're talking in terms of the clean and jerk, not the overall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's all academic because he didn't make the lift. And now the question for the Germans is Ronnie Weller in any sort of condition to take that lift? We just don't know at the moment. He's round the back. It'd be nice if we could get a shot of him. This is the Weller problem. And 52 seconds on the clock.
Yes, and that back foot, I just noticed, instead of being on his toes, he was flat-footed.
Very difficult to assess exactly what he's done to himself. But 28 seconds, and doesn't look like it to me. And I think that caution is the safest thing. But remember, it's only 6 months to the World Championships. He's got to go there to qualify. He's going to be taking on Chemurkin. And Ronnie Weller's out of time and is not going to take any further part in the competition. So the European champion, the world record holder for the total, injured, receiving attention in one of the massage cubicles just backstage, and now at 245 kilos, Danielin Arshot, who's in the lead already for the overall, and he's 5 kilos ahead of Ronnie Weller, who's not taking any part. Skerbatis, of course, now has finished his lifting, so Danielin is the champion. Danielin third and final clean and jerk.
Yes, opting for 245 kilos. Of course, it makes no difference.
No, he's in the clear. This is I suppose, to term it a lift for fun, really, because it doesn't affect the championship. The gold medal has gone here together with the championship. And so the good big one in the shape and form of this 25-year-old from Yerevan, weighing in at 159.5 kilos, has got this for a little icing on the cake. And the clean and jerk is certainly a big, big improvement. And that's a total of 447.5. But you have to relate that to Ronnie Weller's world standard of 465 and the world clean and jerk standard of 260.